Some of Jesus' last words to the church were, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you even to the end of the age." And so He has been. The church has been faithful through every generation to make disciples of Jesus, trusting the promise of Jesus. And of course, the church has now spread globally. There are disciples being made in Russia and China and Ethiopia and Tanzania and Australia and even here in the United States. Every region is important. No area is too small. In God's sovereignty, He planted Abner Creek Baptist Church right here to minister to the Duncan, Greer, Moore, Reedville, Greenville, and Spartanburg area. And that's exactly why we're here. For us, this is where it all began, in this small log home of our founding members, William and Sarah Hendricks, in 1832. The church began to meet in their home, trusting that the Lord would provide for them a more suitable meeting space. That's exactly what God did. In 1840, the church, though small in number, decided to build a small cabin where they would meet together and worship the Lord. The church continued to grow in number, and in 1858, the Lord blessed again. Through the faithful giving of the church members and God's faithfulness, they built their very first sanctuary. The Lord wasn't finished blessing the church. The church continued to grow, and in 1901, He blessed them again, this time with a new sanctuary, one that was completely paid off. The Lord continued to work through the ministry of Abner Creek Baptist Church. But then hard times hit everyone in the 20s and 30s during the Great Depression, especially if you were in the cotton business, which most people were. It's reported that cotton prices actually dropped from 45 cents per pound down to 5 cents per pound, and that's even if you could find a buyer. But even in these extremely hard times, the members of the church were faithful to continue to give to the ministry of the church. And it was through their faithful giving and the faithfulness of God that ministry was still continuing to go forward. Then in 1963, the Lord blessed the church again. The church was able to dedicate its first brick sanctuary in her history. What was originally a 15-year mortgage, the church, by God's faithfulness, was able to pay off the building in just 7 years. Wallace Hughes led a mortgage burning ceremony on November 1st, 1970. In the 38 years that would follow, the Lord continued to provide through ways of conversion and discipleship. Active membership still grew. There were missional efforts that took place. The Lord blessed the church with a beautiful family life center, resources, educational space, opportunities for ministry, and through the continued giving of the faithful members of the church, the ministry continued to go forward. But then on January 2nd of 2008, the sanctuary of Abner Creek Baptist Church burned to the ground. The beautiful facility that sat in this very spot was now suddenly gone. Some of you remember that time very well. Others of us only know of the stories and pictures. The Lord had been faithful to Abner Creek for over 175 years, and the members believed that even in hardship like this, the Lord would still be faithful. Even though the building was now gone, Abner Creek knew that ministry would continue to go forward because they always knew that the ministry was never ultimately about the building, it was always about the people. And then the gracious saints here at Woods Chapel United Methodist Church offered for Abner Creek to meet here for however long we needed until our building was rebuilt. And so for 2.5 years, the members of Abner Creek Baptist Church met here and continually gave toward the ministry of the church still, and God remained faithful, and they waited for the next sanctuary to be built. Finally, the long-awaited day was here. June 6, 2010, after many months of planning, strategizing, and meetings, the newly built sanctuary was now complete. God had provided what was nearly a $4 million facility. A lot had changed since 1832 in the small log home to the beautiful facility that the Lord has provided. But God had remained the same. And it was through your faithfulness in giving and the faithfulness of God that ministry at Abner Creek Baptist Church was to continue. The ministry of the church is never about a building. It's not about the resources or the possessions or the facility. The ministry of the church is about the glory of God being known among all the peoples of the earth. The ministry of the church is about the people of God coming together to worship the one true God because He's worthy. And yet, God has always been faithful to our church to provide us with a meeting space, a base that we could come to together to worship Him, and also a launching pad that we could go out to make disciples. In January of 2011, we paid our first payment toward the mortgage of this beautiful facility. Church family, I'm so excited to tell you that today, January of 2021, we have paid our last. As of January 15th, 2021, Abner Creek Baptist Church is now, once again, debt-free. Of course, all praise and glory is to be given to God, for it is He alone that has provided us with this wonderful blessing. He deserves all the glory and the praise for how He has lavished upon us blessing after blessing for over 185 years. Thank you to each of you. If you've ever given one penny to the ministry of Abner Creek Baptist Church, thank you for your faithfulness in giving to the ministry of this church. May God continue to be glorified as we proclaim the excellencies of Jesus Christ in order to make disciples of all nations.